with the Richmond Police Department, and I would like to welcome you on behalf of our Chief Gerald Smith, and the 800 employees of the world-class police department. I like saying that because it is true. I've worked here since 2003, and there are some wonderful men and women that I've interacted with and worked with. And we have another great one on tonight. She's a 20 plus year veteran of the Richmond Police Department. She's also my coworker. I'm not going to introduce everything because I want her to introduce herself. But it's my pleasure to introduce Officer Kimberly Cheatham. She will lead us in our training on tonight for the civilian response to active shooter events or civilian response to active attack events. Officer Cheatham.
Mhm. Greetings, good evening, everyone. It's nice to see you all again.
Good
As
evening.
Donald said, I've been with the police department for about 27 years. It'll be 28 in July, and I work in community care. So anything dealing with youth, prevention, outreach, things of that nature, then that's what we do. Um, Tonight is very special for me because this is my first time presenting on this topic. So please critique me. I'm not thin skinned. This is my first time, and it's something that we want to bring to the community. So anything that I may need to do differently, better, let us know so we can give you just the best that we have. Okay. I'm going to attempt to share my screen. Donald probably will have to talk me through this, I think. Do you all see what I'm seeing?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Oh, okay. Um, what I did, uh, I think I may have emailed myself the wrong copy,
Yeah.
but it's gonna be similar to what the notes that I'm going to be reading.
Um, Kim, if you like, I can to share the PowerPoint if you like, and you can still present that way. Would it make it easier for you?
I don't know if this, hold on, let me hold on one second.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So it is kind of going through there. Okay. Oh, yeah. It may not go through there with the interactive
It,
map though.
yeah. Um, Let me see. Okay, like Donald said, this is the civilian response course to active attack events, and we're going to be talking about run, hide, or fight. These are the three components that we try to stress to civilians in an active attack situation. And I believe most recently we changed it to active attack instead of active shooter because in the training that we had, we learned that it's not always a gun that is involved in this. Any type of weapon can be used in a period of time to try to take out or injure, hurt, or kill a large amount of people. Uh, So the federal definition of an active shooter event is one or more people actively engaged in killing or attempting to kill people in a confined or populated area. And then there are a bunch of not gang related, not the byproduct or another crime. It's all separate. It's not gang related and it's not byproduct of another crime. The attacker has no profile. They um they really, well, I shouldn't say they don't have a profile. They really you can't really pinpoint or say this particular person will or will not participate in these events. But these are some risk factors that contribute to people that may commit these type of events. And these are people that have a history of violence, they have been exposed to violence, substance abuse or dependence, mental illness, or history of being suicidal. Um, Okay. More risk factors are stalking, harassing, or threatening behavior, negative family dynamics and support system, isolation, and others are concerned about them and their welfare, their mental capacity. Now, I think this is where Don was talking about this map is, yeah, it's not color coordinated here. Many believe schools are the most frequently attacked locations. When combined, businesses and other commerce locations actually make up the majority of attack locations. Between 2000 and 2015, it's a total of 54% of attacks that have been in commerce locations outside of school buildings. A shooter is connected if there is a direct relationship between the shooter and the attack site, employee, former employee, or student, former student. A little bit more than half are connected. %, no connection, and 55% connection. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. I think it's supposed to be a video. So I don't know, Donald, do you want to do the one that you have so we can show these videos, or you want me to continue? I won't be able to share my screen though. Or you want me to keep going like this?
I was muted there. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, you can continue. That's fine.
Okay. This right here is an incident that happened in 2014 in Santa Barbara, California. It's an example. They said pure evil at best. The perpetrator killed 3 people independently by stabbing them at his residence, then eventually proceeded to attacking people with a gun on campus and driving a car over other people in the street. This is a prime example of why we have changed the name from active shooter to active attacker events. The Pulse nightclub attack, Orlando, Florida in 2016. Islamic-inspired terrorists attacked and killed 49 people. The shooter was connected to this nightclub and that he frequently this business as a patron often. Las Vegas, 2017. We remember this incident where the gentleman was in a hotel and just started opening fire on people that were at the concert. New York City, 2017. A lone truckman killed 8 people, wounded 15 using a Home Depot rental truck. Sutherland Springs, Texas. One lone gunman killed 26 people. 26, one person, and wounded 20 more. He was dishonorably discharged from the Air Force, and the shooting began at the outside of the church, shooting into it, and the attacker then moved into the church. Luckily for some of the survivors, a witness retrieved their own weapon and began taking the fight to the suspect, forcing him to flee. The number of deaths is a product of 2 things. It's going to be target availability and how long it takes for a police officer to get there. But I'm going to add one additional comment in there. just like the citizens stepped up at the church and confronted the suspect. So you have how quickly the police arrive, target availability, and also if anyone is willing to approach that person that is conducting the attack. In the study, they have said that it takes about 3 minutes. Once the police have gotten the call, it takes us about 3 minutes to get to the location. And that number can vary. It just depends on traffic, the time of the day, just different variables like that. Disaster response. Three stages of disaster response is broken down into denial, deliberation, and decisive movement. And when I was taking this course, I thought that was very interesting, and you all will see, because it's really true when you start thinking about when stuff happens. This process, it's dead on. A research was done examining who survives and who dies during a disaster. The research person, Amanda Ripley, she identified a three-phase process that everyone goes through during these events. People who survive go through the process faster and take better actions at the decisive movement because they are prepared beforehand. And that's one of the things that I used to do it with my son and my daughter when we went out, and now I just do it with my daughter because we go out the most now. Every time we go somewhere, I'm always asking her, if something happens, how you going to get out? What's your plan? You know, how you going to get to the car? How are you going to protect yourself? And that's one of the things that I think we need to stress to people. You don't have to have a perfect plan, but you need to have a plan. You need to have something that you can just snap and kick into if something goes wrong. All right, many people do admit that if there is an disaster or they underestimate the severity of the disaster, people delay thinking actions, and this delay causes lives, because what they're saying is when you go out somewhere, you see or you hear something, but in the back of your mind, you're like, I'm not really seeing that, or that's not really happening, or I didn't hear that. No, I'm not hearing gunshots. I'm hearing, firecrackers. And all that time that you're processing negative, ma'am.
Nothing. My kid's bleeding. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, that's okay. Or you spend that time talking yourself out of the situation when you could be taking those valuable moments and coming up with a plan or putting your plan into motion, and that what increases your chances of survival. The study that the lady did, she said in the World Trade Center, people called other people to check on them. They logged off their computers, they packed up their things before they began to evacuate because they were denying in their mind what exactly was really happening. So why do people do that? It's called normalcy bias. The brain is lazy. It wants things to fit into existing plans. It tries to define a disaster as something else that we are already familiar with. For example, an active attack situation, many people describe hearing the shots but attribute it to fireworks. This is because the brain is more easily able to process someone shooting off fireworks than shooting or murdering people. That's how the brain processes. Social proof. We are social animals. We look at each other for clues about how to behave. This is especially true in cases when a situation is new to us. We just look around and see how other people are behaving, and we try to react and feed off of that. Consider at any time you might be at a large formal dinner party. There are many different plates, glasses, and silverware for each person. If you are unsure about which utensil to use, a very easy way to determine the appropriate response is to watch others around you. So there is an order when you're at a fine dining place of what fork you should use for what dish, what spoon you should use, and things like that. So it is, if you don't know, you just peep over and you look and you see what someone else is doing, and that's how your response is going to be, to watch others around you and see what they are doing, and then you're going to do the same. This is important because a few people doing the right thing can save many lives. But if you're in a bad situation and you have people that aren't making wise choices in those split seconds that are very important, very valuable, then you're going to do what they're doing, and that's going to decrease your chances of coming out alive. I already talked about, we look to others for information on how to act. If others are doing nothing, you would tend to do nothing. If others are acting, you would tend to act. Then we slip into the phase of deliberation. Many deny, but some use it and start to realize, hey, there's a problem. They don't know what to do about it, but at least they realize, hey, there is a problem. I need to do something. The next phase is once people get past the denial and they're actually at deliberation, two things must happen. They know that it's a problem because the brain is not functioning well because of the amount of stress that's on the body. Additionally, this is where fear enters the equation because people now know this is a potential life and death situation. So during the deliberation phase, we have the human brain and the lizard brain. The human brain is reflective, it's a thinking brain, it's flexible, it's rational, it's slow. You have to think about it. With the lizard brain, it is reflective, reacting brain, is fixed, it's emotional, it's fast, it just happens. So in situations that are stressful, the human brain does the fight, flight, or freeze. One of these examples are if you're at the house and you hear a noise, then you hear it again and sounds like it's something outside. Then you hear something sliding on the screen. Then you hear the glass breaking on the door. Then you hear someone coming in the house. During this time right here, this is when you have your normal resting heart rate. Then you're going to have your fine motor skills. You're going to be a little disoriented. You're going to have in the red. That's when your complex motor skills begin to deteriorate a little bit more. And peak physical performance in gross motor, you are stronger, faster, and will bleed less. In the condition gray, 150 beats per minute, you're going to be cognitive processing deteriorating. You're going to get tunnel vision, auditory exclusion time. In the black, 175 beats per minute, your system is going to be overloaded, freezing, and voiding of bowels and bladder. This is why I guess they say sometimes when things happen, people tend to go to the bathroom. on them, on themselves. I don't have this video to show right here. In this video, it's showing a lady that has a child that's in the stroller, and it's saying for us to take notice of the time it takes the female with the stroller to remove the child from it. She never really properly removes the child. However, she does achieve the goal through brunt force eventually, noting it takes her 10 seconds to remove the child, a task that she has done dozens of times before. But because she's in a panicking situation, she's not really focusing on the small things. She's in overload almost, and she's just trying to get the child out, but she's not releasing that strap like she's done over 100 times before. This right here is a nightclub, station nightclub, where it's saying 31 people, they died. These people were in this nightclub and they were having a good time, and the building began to catch on, it caught on fire and it began to smoke. And instead of someone thinking, hey, this might be a fire, everybody continued to drink and dance and have a good time because they thought it was part of the skit that the band was using, smoke and stuff like that. And it wasn't until it got really bad in there that someone was like, oh my gosh, this is a fire. This is a fire. So this video right here is saying that this is an example of initial denial. Even when it looks obvious that the flames have reached the roof, some people are still in denial, not thinking this is a fire. It's part of the act that's going on. And everyone in here, the majority of everyone, they attempted to go out through the front, the main entrance. No one bothered to check for other exits to try to get out. And the majority of the people, they died right in the door area. They got jammed up in the door area. Once they realized it was a fire, initially there was no panic and people were still able to use their human brain to process a proper response to get out. Once the primary entrance was clogged and people could not get out of it, panic began to set in and people reverted to their lizard brain. The only thing they were thinking was to get out. When they weren't able to think rationally, they knew there would be more than one exit besides the one that they had used to enter the building. However, under stress and relying solely on their lizard brain, all they could think of was to flee through that one front door which they had entered in. That's showing how when the human brain shuts down, the lizard brain takes over, but provides very few options if not properly prepared ahead of time. During bad situations, we obviously want to keep the human brain running as long as we can. So here are a few techniques we recommend for you to do during the deliberation phase. Calm yourself. Tell yourself to calm down. Breathe in slowly through your mouth. Hold it. And then, breathe slowly through your nose, hold it for about 2 seconds, then breathe out slowly through your mouth. This can slow your heart rate down by 20 to 30 minutes, 30 beats per minute. We know that you're going to be scared, but you can change that to a more useful emotion like anger. If you get angry, then that's going to make you want to do something about it, fix the situation, change the situation. But if you're scared, you're not going to be as apt to be motivated to get yourself out of that situation versus being angry. Stay fit. Researchers have shown that people who are fit are generally more able to cope with stress. During the deliberation phase, script and practice. Scripting means thinking through if then scenarios in your head, which is what I try to do with my kids. Practice, think of it, what you're going to do if this happens. It doesn't have to be 100% you know, foolproof, but at least have some type of plan in mind, and then practice it in your mind. Think actually, how is this going to play out? What am I going to do? Script it and then practice it. This guy right here, I can't pronounce his last name, Rick Rescarla. He was from my understanding, he was a consultant for the World Trade Center, and he was telling, he was telling the people that he worked for, the building, that they needed to have a plan of action and they needed to practice, so when something happened, then they could just fall into place, and just like that, when something happened, just their training and practicing would kick in to this. So he got, from my understanding, most of the people out of the World Trade Center, and they followed whatever protocol, and he went back in to one of the trade centers, and they said that he never came out. They never saw him again after that. Decisive moment. You can't see the video, but it's three gentlemen here. These men fought through fear and moved to the decisive movement to defend not only themselves but others on a train on a particular day. Moving through denial and into action requires commitment to oneself as well as to the others that are dependent on you to lead them in the grand social proofing experiment that could mean lives being saved. These people from that, I'm trying to remember from my training, these guys, they were on a train, and a situation, an active attack situation came about, and these three guys went up and tackled the person, the attacker. So we're going to look at some different ways, some more ways civilians can respond, or they do respond to situations. Denial is a way, but we do not like for you to deny. If you think that something bad is happening, process in your mind, hey, something bad is happening. I got to figure out what I'm going to do. If you hear gunshots, don't always assume, hey, it's fireworks, firecrackers, or it's not gunshots. Act as though it is, and try to have a plan, move into action, do something. Don't just stay there. Go straight to the deliberation plan. Often we hear that after an event, a victim or eyewitness said that it sounded like something that it wasn't, or you thought you saw something else that you didn't realize what exactly was happening. But go ahead, get out of that denial and go right into deliberation. in the training that I have, we're suggesting to you playing dead is not a good strategy, only because a lot of times when these active attackers are clearing the room or walking past the room or hallway, there are a lot of times they are doing things to people to make sure that the target is taken out, whether it be if they have a gun, using the gun as they're walking past bodies laying on the ground, or if they have a knife, if they're using the knife as they're walking past bodies laying on the ground. If playing dead is your only option, I would use that very very sparingly. Very sparingly. Playing dead is not a good strategy. Hide and hope is not a good strategy. Hiding and hoping is not good because whatever you are hiding behind is probably not bulletproof if a gun is in play. It's just too much in American construction that bullets cannot stop. So choose wisely what you hide behind, as they say in the hide and hope. And if you're hiding and you're seen, you will be shot. The second related issue to hide and hope is that most of the desk, if you're hiding under a desk, most of the desks have an open area, and as soon as they come around, they can see you hiding behind that desk and they're going to shoot you. So they're saying just choose very wisely where you decide to hide. In deliberation, our basic strategy is avoid, deny, and defend. And I'm going to show you some examples of that. It's supposed to be a video here, but the video is not working. Do you remember what happened in this video, Donald?
Yes, this is an angry man whose wife was just laid off, and the man came in accusing these persons. The person that you see here, they're a part of the school board, and a gentleman comes in and he accuses them of releasing his wife or firing his wife.
Okay. I vaguely remember this. He came in wailing. At first, he came in with a gun, and we can clearly see that he has a gun in his hand. And the people are still going on with the meeting as if this gentleman with the gun is not even in there or present at all. And that is an example of denial. In the avoid/run part of this, leave the area, leave the situation ASAP if you can. Know your exits and call 911. That's what you should be thinking of in the avoid type. If you can avoid the situation from getting any worse than what it is, then these are 3 things that will help you. Leave, know your exits, which way you can leave, and call 911. And right here, when it says avoid and run, consider your secondary exits. That's why every time I go somewhere, I try to figure out where is the kitchen located? Because 9 times out of 10, they have a window or a door. The kitchen, I look to see some bathrooms, bathrooms do have windows and some don't. So you should know that if you can. It's no harm. And if you go out to a restaurant or to the movie theater, do a quick scan. See what your exits looking like. See what your bathrooms are looking like. See what your escape routes are looking like. Consider a secondary exit. Don't always think if something pop off that, hey, I need to get to the front door. That's gonna be my only way out. Don't limit yourself to doors. As I said, some bathrooms and kitchens at some places they have windows. Look at the size of the window. See if you can grab something to smash the window open or push the window open, and if you'll be able to get through that window if something happens. Look for fire escapes, breaking through. You can tap on a sheetrock wall and you can tell if it has a stud or something behind it because the sound is different. But if it's a hollow sound, you can take something heavy or hard, push through that. If somebody is coming towards you and you need to get out of there, push through that wall, knock that drywall out. Check doors. Some doors may not be they might be closed, but they may not be locked, and they may have access to a door or window that can get you outside of that building. Deny the person the entry to get you. Deny them that opportunity to get you by locking the door. You could turn the lights out, get out of sight. If you're in the classroom or you're in an interior room or something like that, is no harm in staying put right where you are if you cannot escape by locking the door. Turn the lights off, so make it hard for them to determine if somebody is in the room or not. And even if you're not able to find a secure place to hide, if you're just out of their sight and the room is dark, then that increases your survival chances right there. If the door that you are hiding behind does not have a lock on it, then what you could do is you can look around the room. If there are other desks, if there's desks in there, chairs, file cabinets, anything like that that you can use, put all that up against the door. Just make it so much harder for that person to get in. This is what I just went over. Barricade still. Put stuff up against the door. If it's you and another person, you guys lift some stuff up, move some stuff around. Or if it's you by yourself, I'm sure I'm not the only person that has rearranged furniture in their house by themselves. I have moved plenty of items by myself, just positioning myself in a way where I could just use my body weight to move stuff or scoot stuff. So use that barricade situation. Put all kinds of stuff, furniture, anything that you can put up against the door to block them from coming in, or put up against the window so they can't see. This is something else, just a simple door stop that you can slide up underneath the door, which will keep the door closed or make it harder for them as they try to come in. Here's a commercial door lock. It looks like that they could, if you look around and see if you could utilize that if they have it. This is another video of the teacher in Sandy Hook who was able to save the kids in her room. Now I wish that you guys could see these videos. So a lot of civilians, we don't like to tell you all to go hands-on or be in a an aggressive manner, because everybody is made differently, and how much courage one person have, the next person may not. But a lot of civilians will not have the combat mindset, and we need to, when we're teaching this, we just need to let everybody know that we have options. So this right here is another option, and it's totally up to you how comfortable you feel in this area right here. That's the option where you are denying them. You are positioning yourself. You have a very good position so that you can be the element of surprise for him or her if they enter the area or enter the room where you are. You can grab the gun if you feel comfortable doing it. You can fight, and you can shift emotions. You can set the tone and put a different spin on how things may play out or how they may end up. But this right here, all of these four things, this is totally up to you and how comfortable you feel about doing it. We suggest that if you do take this type of stance, that you do stand near the door, not across from the room, but if you stand near the door, because as he's coming in, he's going to be focused on looking across the room, not on the sides, or she not on the sides as they enter the room. So if you're positioned like these gentlemen are on the side, then you have good positioning where you can grab the gun, or you can tackle them, or you can do some type of maneuver to subdue them. If you do decide to grab the gun, hold it with all of your might, and even if you're in a tussle, try to keep the gun pointed from away from you, or pointed from away from anybody that's in the room. And as I said earlier, a lot of times when people see you do something, then they're going to step up to the plate and do something. So more than likely, someone else will be in there and they can help you subdue that person and take the gun away from them. However, this is totally up to you and how I guess how you feel about doing it. If you feel that you have the courage to do it, then go ahead and step up to the plate and try to do it. But if you know that you don't have that in you, then you have to come up with another plan of action. This is not going to work for you. You know, you don't have to be thinking, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Just think that your life depends on this, and this fight is not fair. So if you have to pull hair, pull hair. If you have to you know, kick, bite, you know, gouge eyes, if you have to use something that is not normally used as a weapon, then go ahead and use those if you feel comfortable doing that, so you can save your life and other lives that are relying on you as well in this bad situation. Shift your emotions from fear to anger, because once you come out of that scare zone and you get angry, you get mad that this person is attacking you, attacking your family, your friends, your co-workers. Once that anger kick in, the fight is not going to be fair. You are going to look around for whatever you can get your hands on to stop this person from attacking you all in this situation. This guy right here was a police officer, and let me read his story. It was a mosque, a synagogue, if I'm not mistaken, that he pulled up on. It was an active attacker, and I don't know how many times he got shot, but Donald, do you remember how many times he got shot?
No, I don't.
Okay, so and anyway, the bottom line is he shifted his mindset, and as he said, I'm not going out in the parking lot. I'm not going out like this. I'm not going to let my wife down. I'm not going to let my daughter down, and I'm not letting my stepkids down. So he got his mindset straight. Even though he was injured, he was still able to use his weapon and stay in the gunfight. And that scar is showing where he had surgery because of this shooting situation. So with the avoid, deny, and defend, we encourage you, as I said earlier, to check your environment as well as your rooms. When you are in places, then just look around and do a quick scan. See what's available to you. See where you will go to avoid, where would you go to deny, and if need be, what can you use in the room to defend yourself? That should be if you have little kids, that could be like a little game that you can play with them, asking them what would they do, not small kids, but young kids. What would you do if a bad guy came in here, or if somebody came in here and they were doing something bad to mommy or doing something bad to you? What we do, and just build on that every time you all go out. And we don't want to instill fear. We're not instilling fear that you have to be paranoid every time you go out, but we just want to give you some tools and some resources, and just give you some awareness, some things to think about to keep you safe in situations that may arrive. I tell my daughter all the time, if we go out, if something happens, don't hold me, don't cling to me, don't mom me, nothing. I want you to handle yourself and get somewhere safely and call 911 and tell me your mom is a police officer and this is what's going on and she needs some help. One time we were in a store and something went down, and I was trying to go to the security officer to help him, and my daughter just grabbed me and started crying. No, mom, no, no. And I had to tell her that sometimes, even though I'm off, I'm still a police officer, and I may have to do stuff. I may have to take action. So it may be a husband or wife that's together, and you may have to separate yourself from each other to take care of the situation. One parent takes the kids to safety, and one try to stay and get with some other people and do the defend or do the fight thing. Or the kids may have to go somewhere safe, and then the parents have to defend or fight. So just have a plan of action and come up with something that's going to get you out of that bad situation. What you do matters. Everything you do matters. From the time that you realize that something bad is popping off until the time that police officers get there, everything you do, it matters. If you're stuck in denial, more than likely that's going to matter, because you are decreasing your chances of survival until the police can get there and address the attacker. But if you get out of that denial and into that fight and defend mode quickly, then that allows or increases the chances of you and other people, more people, surviving. If you cannot avoid the situation at all, if you have just totally skip that as an option, and you skip the opportunity to deny them access to you, you may have to go straight, just like that, straight. Once you realize that, whoa, something's going on. I can't retreat and deny him access to me or her access to me, or avoid the, the contact. You may have to just go into that defend mode. You may have to just start defending yourself right then and there. This is another, these are just videos. These are all videos of still picture videos of the Virginia Tech shooting. It's saying room 206. That's where the shooting started. The shooter walked in and started killing people. He left and returned later to shoot more people. In room 2, right there, room 211, the teacher heard shots and told students to call 911. Students attempted to block the door with desks. The shooter pushed his way in, shot the professor, walked down the aisles, killing students. The shooter returned later and shot more students. Room 207, that was the second room attacked. He walked in, shot several students and the teacher. He then walked down the aisle, shooting more students. The shooter left. The shooter attempted to return. Students used their bodies to barricade the door. Shooter got the door open just 1 inch and shot into the room, but no one was hit. Room 204, the professor held the door shut when the shooter tried to enter. Then the professor yelled at his students to jump out of the window. The shooter shot the professor through the door, but 10 students made it out of the window before the shooter got in. Room 205, students heard the shots and used their feet to keep the doors closed. The shooter pushed on the door and fired through the door, but never gained entry. So this is why we say playing dead and hiding and praying or hiding and hoping, they are not good strategies. Now this is the part that I stress, well, when I start teaching this, this is my first time, but when I start teaching this, this is an area that I really want, another area that I really, really, really want to focus on is when the police arrive. When the police arrive, we want to stress to you all not to run up to us and not to like try to hug us and grab us and try to like, oh my God, I'm so glad you're here. We don't need you all to do any of that. Once we get on scene, the only mission at that time is to potentially save as many lives as we can by stopping the threat. So you need to follow our commands as you run past us or out of the area. Show your palms, raise your hands up, or if the police order you down on the ground, do not move, then do what they say. Get on the ground and do not move. Remember that we are also, as we arrived at the scene, and as you can imagine, when something traumatic like this happens and we're getting information from our dispatchers, we're already experiencing all the stress symptoms that I have talked about in this PowerPoint presentation before we even get there. So to make things easier, we just ask that you follow our commands and you do what we say when we arrive. We may have to handcuff you. There's no need to have a conversation or negotiate. Well, I'm not the bad guy, da da da. Just let us do what we have to do to clear that building to make sure the bad person is contained or the bad person is in a position where they're not able to be a threat to anyone. You might be told to do things when the police officer get there that your job, if we come to your job, if it's a active situation at your job, and we may tell you to do something that's out of your policy or something that you can't do, you may have to violate a policy, a work policy or something like that, then you just have to do it. You have to violate that, and it's going to be okay, because we have to do what we have to do safely to take out the to make sure that the threat stops, and to take out that person that's committing all this, get that person out of the building, out of the area, out of that environment, so we can make sure that everybody else is safe. Our goal, like I said earlier, objective is to find a threat. Once we find a threat, we have to deal with the threat, so the threat is no longer a threat. We need to focus. When we get there, we're focused on stopping the killing, stopping the dying, and evacuating the injured. Just like that. That's our only focus right there. Once we get on scene, we can deal with everything else, have all kinds of other conversations after the fact, but you need to follow commands and know that we have to stop the killing, stop the dying, and evacuate the injured. We want to find out where that active attacker is, so we can make sure that they stop doing what they are doing. Then after that, then we can help the wounded, and then after that, we will get people out of the building. I don't want you to think that when it's a situation like this, as the police are clearing the building and as they are making sure that everything is safe, and you may say, oh, my coworker's down here, or my son is down on the ground, my daughter's down on the ground. We may not, at that particular time, we're not being rude or disrespectful or not caring, we may not be able to address the wounded as soon as we get there. I know what we started doing, all jurisdictions do not do this, but what we started doing is moving in teams where we have police officers surrounding EMS, surrounding firefighters, and they're going in, and we are protecting them as well as clearing the building, so they can also stop some along the way and treat and take care of the wounded. And also what we've done is we have them closer to the situation, so we can travel together and bring people back to them, to that area, or they can also work on them there. Oh my God, I forgot how long ago that training was, but we trained with, we had active shooting training with the fire department and EMS as far as going in together on the entry. But some jurisdictions, they will not do that. Their EMS will not come into a scene unless it's secure. So when a person is injured or someone has been hurt, the police must go in, get the threat first, and then the ambulance EMS will come in and treat the people. Tourniquets are good. I don't know a whole lot of people that just randomly have them in their car or have them in their purse or easy access to them, but that's something that the police department, we trained in how to put on the tourniquet. So if someone is, they have a real bad wound or something like that, you can put that on to help with the blood loss, so they won't bleed out. So that's something that we also talk about in this PowerPoint right there, this presentation. And I think I'm gonna just had another idea, Donald, another training session, tourniquet training.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah. People who experience shock, survival's guilt, PTSD, nightmares, you may have to reach out for some therapy. You may have to reach out for some help once you have been through a situation like that. We I know, well, you guys, I think, heard me say on our last training session that I go to therapy. Actually, I just finished up my therapist appointment at 5:30 when I got off from work. I go to therapy once a week, and we recommend that once you have been through a situation like this, that your children, your spouse, your co-workers, you at least have one visit with a therapist or counselor just to talk to them about the situation and just see if you need to do a follow-up or if they think that you're okay. But you will experience mental trauma, and you do need to have some type of conversation with the therapist after this. One of the things that we as law enforcement do not try to do is the active shooter or the active attacker themselves. We try not to name them because a lot of them, we're finding out, they want their name in the newspaper or on the news and things like that. So we try not to give them their glory by not naming them. We will talk about the situation and maybe talk about them, but we try not to name them. This was another short video right here. Miss Soto, she's a first grade teacher at Sandy Hook. It says that she was a first grade teacher at Sandy Hook and a hero. On the day the monster came to the school building to murder as many kids as he could, she put herself between that monster and her kids. Her classroom is where some of the kids survived. She gave her life to protect them. Here's another hero right here. It's saying that Miss Angela McQueen was a PA teacher and a math teacher. And when faced with a student shooter, she ran and attacked the shooter, taking him down and holding him until the police arrived. So that is the end of this PowerPoint that I have. And I just want to remind you all that just to have a plan of action when you're out, and get your brain out of the denial mode, get your brain into the deliberation and the active mode. Okay, we're gonna go in and we're gonna take care of business. We're gonna do some stuff. We're gonna get ourselves out of this bad situation right here. And remember, playing dead is not a good way of handling this situation. You need to avoid the situation or the contact with the person if you can. You need to deny them access to you or deny them access to a great amount of people. And also you need to defend or fight if need be, if there's an attack, an active attacker or an active shooter situation. And just remember that what you do, it matters. How quickly you move from fear to anger can determine how many lives may be lost or how many lives may be saved. I think that's it, Donald. Do you think can you think of anything that I'm leaving out?
No, you did great, Officer Cheatham, and we do have some questions that appeared in the chat. I'd like to go over those.
Okay.
But allow me to stop the video, and then we'll go over the questions.
Okay. Do I do something or do you stop my share screen?
You'll have to, you can stop sharing,
Okay.
but I'll stop the recording.